door's open, so come on in. Sound check done, let's begin. Breaking news, the guess is you. Streaming live for you to view. Open House the podcast. Open House the podcast. Oh.
Yeah, the extended cut. Yeah. We got yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep, there's nothing goes better on audio than chewing on gum the whole time. So Summer, who, by the way, you've come a long way. You've definitely learned a lot about this industry and stuff like this. There is a trick to the gum. You either just let it sit on your back couple teeth, or you can also shove it like up in the corner and let it sit there. I'm a sitter. Like I let it just sit.
Okay, yeah. Can I tell you? So mine's on the roof of my.
Is that where you're doing it? Okay. Yeah.
But that's funny because usually when I chew gum, so it's my first time chewing gum on the podcast.
We're hitting milestones today. This is already turning out to be probably the number one episode. Next week, leading up to next week when we have 10X coach Gary Miku on the show.
Oh my God.
So that one's going to be great. Yeah.
No, it's funny though because usually when I am chewing gum, I'm the person who's blowing bubbles, clicking it in my mouth. One of those people like nonstop.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh man,
and I know it's kind of annoying for other people to listen to.
You're as annoying as those pen clickers.
I do. I go click, click, click. So
do you click your pen while you're doing that?
I'm a pen clicker too.
Are you?
I've actually clicked the pen on the podcast. You just can't hear it. It's away from the mic.
Because it's away from the mic. Yeah.
I'm a clicker of all clicks.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So yeah, when you chew the gum, you gotta move your mouth away, or maybe you stop chewing the gum.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how loud of a gum chewer you are. Welcome to Open House the podcast. We are in a unique spot today, because we are looking at aesthetics and trying to change stuff around.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk a little bit today. And it's funny because I was trying to remember what we were doing this morning, and you became my memory for this, which is great. And so I don't know if I have this really weird. I'm just gonna. Robert Courtney's always taught us just to be authentic selves. I'm gonna share something really weird with you here. I have this problem where I can never find my pants.
Okay.
Right. And it's gotten to the point where just this morning, just as a joke, I said, "Alexa, where are my pants?" To which Alexa responded, "Let me play that playlist for you." Apparently, there is an entire song playlist for people who can't find their pants to listen to.
Oh no!
Well, they are looking for their pants.
What song played?
I don't know. I've never heard it before in my life. It was
Can I know? Did it help you find your pants?
So here, let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard? If you lost an item, it's always in the last place that you look.
Yeah.
See, I think that's a lie.
Okay.
Let me tell you why.
Yeah.
Because I'll lose an item, it's in the last place that I look, but sometimes I forget that I found it, and then is that like a new loss?
I think, but actually that kind of makes sense because sometimes when I lose things, I will not go to the first spot where it should be. I'll go where it shouldn't be first.
Is it usually there, or is it usually where it should be?
Well, usually it is there, but sometimes it is where it should be. And I'm like, oh.
Why didn't I just start there?
Yeah, but I know myself.
Yeah.
I'm very similar. Sometimes I can't find my pants either.
No. There you go. So okay. So I want to talk about a couple of tips and tricks, because here's the deal. As entrepreneurs, and we talked about this, before, the high chance and probability is that entrepreneurs have ADHD, as the kids call it now. And there's some tips and tricks that people can have.
Can we go over the difference between ADHD and ADD?
Yeah, sure.
So
go for it.
From what I know.
Yeah.
I don't really know what ADHD stands for, or hyper.
You just did it, yeah.
Okay, but ADD is hyper.
No, ADD is not without the hyper.
Oh, you're right. ADD is attention deficit disorder.
Yes, yeah, disorder where you can't pay attention.
And then ADHD is attention deficit hyper disorder.
Attention deficit hyper.
So what's the H doing?
hyperactive. You just said it. Attention, A.
So it's hyperactive. So as opposed to ADD.
Well, I think ADD is. We're not okay. We got. Whoa, we are taking this somewhere I didn't think. Okay,
I'm confused.
Disclaimer: we are not medical people. Blah blah blah.
I'm not a doctor.
We don't even play one on TV.
Consult your primary physician.
I don't think there is ADD anymore. I think they took ADD and just added the H in there. You know, it's just, and it's the thing that they did.
Maybe it's a little bit worse because it's hyper.
No, I think that I think that they're all. I think they just classify it all as ADHD now. And if you're an adult, it's adult ADHD, or as I like to call it, entrepreneurialism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to where we started.
Which is funny because it's a totally off track. And now I'm trying to. You asked a question about ADD, attention deficit disorder, and
I threw you off.
And you threw me off.
Yeah,
but
we were talking about entrepreneur, like
something about disorders though you brought up, and now I can't even. Now I can't remember.
Stop thinking about it.
No, I can't remember what I had. I had a point about. You asked the difference between ADD and ADHD, and it is true. Not everybody that has ADHD is hyperactive, but you know, back in the day, it's when I was 30, I had a coach, and it was a cognitive. He was a cognitive coach that was on that taught in a different way. So he taught cognitive functions, and I really like that because here's the deal: at the end of the day, you know, no matter what, there's a high probability that we are. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. It's not that I always thought it's not necessarily that I'm ADD with that disorder. I think other people are BAC.
Oh.
Yeah, that stands for boring as crap. That's what it was.
Not blood alcohol content.
Oh, is that a thing already?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, sometimes you're dealing with BAC. You got to be BAC because they're so BAC.
Boring as crap.
Yeah, boring as crap. That's mine. Yeah. I think.
Honestly, yeah.
Have you ever met a really exciting doctor that wasn't ADD, right? Or wasn't on, you know, some type of medicine to make it? Like, doctors are typically, no offense to doctors, but doctors are typically not.
They're usually
fun.
Well, yeah.
Ever.
No.
Have you ever had a fun doctor?
Actually, my doctor is pretty fun. My primary.
Yeah?
Yeah, she's
like
really
how
sweet.
How is she fun? Now, sweet's different than fun. Like, fun is like, you know, bursting through the door and be like, "You've got cancer," and then throwing glitter and stuff all over the place, like, and then be like, "Gotcha." Just kidding. It's actually.
I think I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
I can tell you for sure I couldn't be a doctor. I couldn't do it. Because that's exactly the type of stuff I would do.
I couldn't either.
Now, I have watched. Have you ever seen the movie with Robin Williams where he has the red nose and Patch Adams?
Yes.
Like, that's the type of doctor I could be.
I know, yeah.
But it would be hard for me to be that type of doctor too.
I thought about that too. Like, if I were to be a doctor, I'd probably be like what are they called for the children's? A pediatrician.
Yeah.
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 100%. I'd be working with kids, not adults.
Yeah. No. Adults, gross. But
you can have a good time with them, though. That's the thing. Well,
Yeah.
you know, have a good time always, but you could be your happy, cute self.
I mean, you could do that anyway.
Your
ADHD
self.
But breaking into an adult's room that, like, 40 years old with, like they just had a colonoscopy and being like, "Hey, everybody.
No, yeah, you can't.
I heard your surgery was a pain in the butt."
You gotta read the room, Johnny. You gotta read the room. Yeah. And everybody's crying.
Everybody's crying.
And you're laughing.
Like, why is everybody so sad? That's not me that would be the one that does that, by the way, yeah.
You think I would do that?
I've got video of you doing this. Yes. You are the one that in serious situations will laugh.
Okay.
Is that the Sum 41 song that used to go, blah, 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 laugh at a funeral. Can't understand what I mean when you soon will. What song is that? Do you know this song?
No. But I don't laugh at funerals.
I didn't say that you did. I said that you are the type of person that would.
Well, if something funny happened, maybe I giggle, but it would be with love, and like it'd be very sweet. I can't talk myself out of this.
I giggled with love at your funeral.
Like endearment.
I would love people to laugh at my funeral. I have always thought.
Don't laugh at mine.
I would
Johnny,
be sad.
if you're not crying. I'll be back here. I'll be haunting you. You better be like your world is over.
I'm giving the speech.
Give the speech.
I gotta go. You're my son.
Here's her microphone.
No. Yeah.
Her spit's all
My
over.
favorite is that we're laughing now about your funeral.
Oh yeah, let's not do that.
How do you
This
think you're
video
gonna
might come
die?
back
Let's
up.
do that. I tell you how I think I'm gonna die.
I really. This is getting dark.
It is, but
I think a car accident.
no, don't do that. What you focus on expands.
Okay, but I don't focus on it. I wear my Saint.
Yeah. Yes, that helps.
Remember?
Yeah.
We talked about it on the
Cue that
St.
one,
Patty's.
Kevin. Kevin won't cue
clip.
it.
Will be above our head.
Yes.
Probably not, but you know.
There it is.
What? How do you think you're gonna die?
I want to die in an airplane crash that I'm flying when
You
I'm
want to
103
be the
years old.
pilot.
Yeah, 103.
You can't plan your death.
Well, I'm not saying. Kind of am saying that I am. I listen. Here's the deal. At the end of the day, I think.
You think you're gonna be the cause of your own death, is what you're saying?
Yeah, at 103.
At 103.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be in a horrible plane crash.
That's interesting. I wonder how many people do think about because it's kind of a scary thing to think about.
It
People
can
don't
be.
want to accept that they might pass away. That they will pass away someday.
Yeah, I guess.
So some people don't think about it. It's scary.
It can be scary. I guess it depends on where faith lies and what you believe happens after the fact, right?
Well, yeah.
For me, I'm ready. Look, I'll live as long as I need to live. I'd be sad just because for my kids and stuff like that. But I know what waits for me afterwards, and that's why, I don't know. I just always had this idea that I'd be 103 years old, and I'd be piloting a plane, right? And I probably shouldn't be at 103, right? They'd be like, Grandpa, why are you getting in that plane, right? Now, I own the plane. I don't think I've stolen it at this point in time, right? And
I like the dreams.
and
big
then
dreams.
I get distracted, right? ADD, right? Or I forget, because who knows by that
You're
point in time where my brain, I'm
103, yeah.
103 years old, and I just, accidentally, and then, I think the plane goes down. I think that's what happens when I'm 103, though.
I think it just makes most sense that someone would die in a car accident
You think it makes more sense
than a plane crash that you're driving?
for a 103-year-old man to not crash an airplane that he's flying versus somebody just driving down the road? I'm telling you.
They're not going to let you behind the plane unless
Can
you
we
took
get
classes.
some facts on who the oldest airplane pilot ever was? I would love to know that.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think.
Who's the oldest airplane pilot? Look, at the end of the day, you gotta. I don't know. I don't look at it as being morbid. I like Gary V has a really interesting viewpoint on this. Gary V, he thinks about that, but he does it in a way so that he appreciates everything that he has now.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's just again, everybody's going to die. I know we can't plan it out, but if I were to go out the way that I wanted to go out,
Okay.
it would be doing some cool stunts in an airplane.
That
I'm
makes sense, but
103
I
years
feel like
old.
that's not the question you asked me.
What?
How would you want to go out as opposed to how do you think you'll go out?
Well, why? I guess you.
I'm a
would,
realist. What can I say?
You don't think it's you? Listen, you don't. Why don't you think it's real for me?
I'm not saying it's not
it
real
kinda
for you.
sounds like that's what you're
I'm
saying.
defending my answer now because I didn't answer the way that you're answering. Now, if I had to choose how I'd go out,
but you can
I would
choose.
be. No, you can't choose how you die. This turned to a crazy podcast.
Yeah, what does this have to do with my pants?
I know. I would probably be.
But listen, if you're going to focus on it anyway, this is where what you focus on expands.
I don't think I have a way that I would choose to die.
Here's the
Happy
thing.
in bed.
Oh, that would be
Old.
nice.
Just
yeah,
old.
yeah, holding hands.
Oh man.
Yeah, and just pass.
I don't
want to
get old though.
You're already there.
Well,
You're getting there.
Well,
There's nothing inevitable that you can do.
I don't want to turn 103.
Why?
To be honest, I don't know if I still want to be kicking it at that point.
Dude, I'm gonna be kicking it.
I
awesome.
might be like, just let me go.
You're gonna be one of those people. I'll be one of those people.
Maybe unless I'm still like walking around. If I'm like,
Of course you can be. See, I think this is the. As funny as it sounds and how we got there, and
I don't think this is what the podcast was supposed to be.
No, we were talking about pants, but realistically, if you think about it, like, why not take control? So you said, well, I haven't really thought about how I want to. Like, but you can apply this to anything in life, right? Well, what do you want to be doing in 5 years? Well, I haven't really thought about what I actually want to be doing. I just think about what I'll probably be doing.
Yeah.
See, that's how most people plan things. Well, you can literally you know, and it might not always go the way that you wanted. I might not make it to 103, but why not have a goal? You know. But think about everything that's in that, because there's a lot of thought that went into this. Number one, by this point, I'm successful enough to own an airplane. I've taken my pilot's license. I know how to fly it. I have a place to store it. I've had success. I've had fun.
You're healthy.
I'm healthy because I have to be able to fit into the plane. You're right.
And you're also 100.
I'm also 103. Yeah, because I've made it, right? So it's more than just that answer, you know, and I think that's we talk a lot about living by default, right? If you don't have a plan, then you're just letting life happen to you. Well, you're kind of doing the same thing. You're dying by default. Well, I probably this will happen instead of, well, if I had my way.
I feel like we need to cancel this whole.
No, it's a good lesson in life. It really is.
Yeah.
Dark stuff, you know, really, it's dark things happen, and we can bring it back to the pants. But there really is a good principle. Like if we'll talk about this with Gary next week. One of the things I love in the 10X book, Grant Cardone says if he was going to be in a car accident, I think it's in chapter 6. If he foresees a car accident coming, and I know people think that this is crazy, and that's okay. The great thing about opinions is everybody can have one, right? Mm-hmm. Grant Cardone, in his book, says if he foresees an accident happening, he's going to be the one that presses on the gas. Because if that accident happens, he's the one that's taking control of it and making it happen. He's not going to let somebody make the accident happen to him.
Yeah. No, it's real. It's
so ADD.
It's solid, yeah.
So ADD sometimes goes off track, but more so, let's get back. You know, there's a couple things that I have picked up, and again, I want to hit this point one last time. Everything in your life, no matter even how you plan it out, you never know exactly what's going to happen, right? You can only control what you can control, but that doesn't mean that you can't have an idea or a plan or what you think or what's gonna, you know what I mean?
I do.
And I remember reading. No, it was in positive psychology. I don't know if I ever used this analogy before. And in positive psychology, the professor that I was at I was doing it through Penn State. The professor was talking about how if you ask somebody what they're going to be doing this weekend. Have I ever told you this before? Have we ever had this conversation?
Probably, because we do this to each other.
Okay, well, now we'll have it with all of them. Yeah.
Hanging with you.
If you ask, yeah, except for that, the biggest death gargle to our relationship is if me and Sam say we're going to do something this weekend, for some odd reason we won't see each other for like 3 weeks.
And then if we don't plan,
then we're always there.
We're there, yeah.
So what's interesting is, if you took a survey of, like, if I were to look at your life and I took a look at the last 3 weekends in a row, I can almost guarantee I know what you're going to do this weekend.
Yeah.
Because we are creatures of habit. Now, take aside, if the major life events happen or something shakes you up. Other than that, we're people of habits. Typically, you're going to do the same thing on the weekend that you've been doing. Some people, that's sitting on a couch laying around. Some people, it's doing laundry on a specific day. Other people, it's not hanging out with me when you said you're going to.
This weekend, me and Johnny, it's going to go down. Let's plan it right now. Let's see if it happens.
Now all of a sudden,
so
we
it's
won't see
Thursday.
each other. Yeah.
Let's say that we're going to
You know what we'll do is we'll
drinks
put pictures,
Saturday.
We'll put pictures up from it, and then it will be...
Yeah, the pictures from our Saturday drinking will be here.
It has to be non-alcoholic and non-sugary. So it'll be seltzer water and a lime for me.
Yeah, no, I just want some appetizers and
The
some
apps?
vodka.
Dip it in there together.
Just kidding.
So, it's interesting because what by simply asking somebody, this is where this gets really interesting. By simply asking somebody what they're doing this weekend, you have the ability to completely change the trajectory of what they're actually going to be doing. Mm-hmm. Like, you can literally change somebody's life by asking. Here's why. Most people don't actually set plans. So they don't think about what they're going to be doing. They're just living by default.
Yeah.
as soon as I ask you what you're doing, guess what you have to do?
Think about what am
I gonna do? I don't know. Maybe we'll hang out and eat some appetizers and get a seltzer water,
soda water.
Yeah, and some potato juice for you, right? Maybe that's what we'll do. Now we're thinking. Now what happens is plans start to get in place because you hadn't thought about it, and before you know it, boom! Now this event is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas before it would have just been, whatever your default Saturday looks like. Isn't that interesting how that works?
It is, yeah, because I do catch myself doing the same thing.
It's routine.
Like Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Like Saturday evening, Sunday. It's kind of like my rest time.
Yeah.
At that point from the week. And if I don't have plans or if nobody says, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm going to go home. Maybe eat some real good food and just...
What's real good food to you?
Well, at Saturday night, what I usually like to do is carry out.
That's what I figured, yeah. Let me guess. I'm going to try to guess. Is it Qdoba?
You're so close, Qdoba. You know I don't do Qdoba, but I do Chipotle.
Chipotle. Ah,
Chipotle.
I can't. So I don't do either of them. But you're right. You do the bowls.
Yeah, I do the bowls.
Yeah,
That is my ideal Saturday night. Yeah, bowl of Chipotle.
Bowl of Chipotle.
Some cookies afterward. A good show.
Yeah, that's it on Hulu.
On Hulu.
On Hulu. There it is.
Hulu's my jam.
Yep. So
see, Johnny knows me. He
Yeah.
knows most likely what my weekend.
Except I screwed the whole thing up though. Here I'm showing up. I'm showing up with freaking. What was the other one that I said? Not Chipotle, but
Qdoba.
Yeah, I'm showing up with Qdoba.
Oh, if he showed up with
Qdoba and Netflix,
it'd be going down. I'm like, you don't even know me anymore.
Here's Qdoba.
That'd be
Netflix.
crazy. Qdoba and Netflix. And no potato juice. I'd be like, oh, take me away. Over it.
That's funny. But it's so what I wanted to talk about was some tips and tricks for people that are, for instance, the pants thing. It's interesting that we look, and like you said, sometimes we don't even look where we think that we should look. Can I share with you one of my biggest pet peeves about myself? Mm-hmm. Every day, I think nearly every day, and maybe I don't know. I should get what we should find like a coach. Maybe when my therapist comes on for that episode, we'll do this. Every day when I go home at night, I think to myself, why didn't I just lay my clothes out for the next day? Like people that do that, they never have to worry about finding their clothes and what they're going to wear. People like Gary Keller, and I think he took it from Steve Jobs, they wore the same outfit every single day. Mm-hmm. When you open up their wardrobe, now I've been told when you open up the wardrobe, you see all black shirts and blue jeans. I'm thinking they just wore the same black shirt and blue jeans. Well, that's what I'm wearing now. I'm doing it.
I was gonna say, I switched it up and I have a white shirt and blue jeans.
Yeah, I bet you know what? In fact, I bet you I'll wear this exact same outfit next week for Gary, just to make it simple on myself. You know what?
If you wear the same outfit,
Yeah?
I'll wear the same outfit. But I probably won't wear my North Face because it'll probably get too warm.
I'll switch out my hat with Gary's hat. That'll be the plan. All right.
Cool. We got that figured out.
Yeah, see how that works?
I
And now
love
our
that.
future has been predicted based on our past activities that are going to be happening tomorrow that happened yesterday, which is tomorrow's yesterday. Anyway, I don't
And then
know
a
how
week
podcast
from now,
math
it'll be a
works.
week from then.
Yes. And 2 weeks from yesterday. Right. So here's a couple of tricks. You might not know this, but one of them that I absolutely loved, and this worked really, really well. I have yet to figure out how to get myself to remember in the moment, because one of the things that we have a lot of issues with is I should do this, right? You heard don't be shoulding all over yourself, right? I should do this, but then squirrel. And before you know to even set anything in motion, you've moved on to the next thing.
Can I tell you too?
Yes.
So this happens to me a lot. And so just like an example would be like trash night, right?
Okay, yeah.
So like I get home and I see everybody's trash cans are out and I'm like,
Yep.
oh yeah, it's trash night. Literally before I get out of the car, because the second I get out of the car,
You're going to forget.
yeah. So I always say, hey Siri, set a reminder
So
for
smart.
15 minutes to take the trash out.
She's doing it right now.
But yeah, I'll say set
That's
a
really
reminder
good.
15 minutes from now.
Yeah.
To take the trash. So I have time to get out of the car, get into the house, take off, do what I was going to do anyway.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then like clockwork, she goes
That's so
off and I'm
smart.
like, thank God, because I had already forgot at that point.
I'm going to steal that.
I was going to say, I catch myself doing that a lot,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
And if I didn't though,
That's
It's
so
like
smart. That's
yeah.
so good.
And then it's like, hey, because you think about something in the moment, and you're like, oh my god, I need to do
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
or I need to make sure this gets taken care of. Hey Siri, remind me by tomorrow, or
Yeah.
remind me by tonight that.
I love that your
like, make
Siri
sure you
keeps
did
going
it.
off. Like you're gonna get all these reminders, and you're gonna be like, "Whoa!"
I'm like, oh my god, I have a whole bunch of nothing to do.
You remember that? So okay, so Summer and I are driving down the road, and some people out there, and this is gonna amaze a lot of entrepreneurs, but there are these people, like my mom is one of these people, where she could set a specific date and time. Like Thursday, 4 months down the road at exactly 2:13, I need to write a note to so and so, and then her brain will actually remember like it's its own remembering system and clock.
That's crazy.
Not only is that frustratingly crazy, but the fact that she thinks it's crazy that everybody can't do that is even more frustrating.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even remember. Like, again, I've told people this before. If it wasn't for the fact that my birthday was on the 4th of July, I wouldn't even remember my own birthday, let alone anybody else's can I ever remember. You know what I mean? That Siri thing is so brilliant. And it's just like we have that dude that you work with. Remember when he sent you a message, and I said send him a message back.
Can I?
Yeah, tell it. Yeah.
Hey, so shout out to Nick McGaskin.
That's the shout out to Nick button now.
Yes, shout out to Nick. So Nick is he's someone that I work with, and he is one of those people that he will say, so on August 12th, 2022, it rained really hard that day, or he'll say, and like 6 months later he brings up these memories, and he always has a date, and I make fun of him at this point sometimes. It's like, oh, when did that happen? July 3rd at 5:54 p.m. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he had texted me and asked me if I could come in early one day for him, and I was like, yeah, I could come in early. It was for 2 weeks from then, and I said,
was it only 2 weeks out?
It was about 2 weeks out.
See, ADHD brain. I thought
well,
it
that's
was
the
like
thing about
months.
Nick too, is he's very organized. He's gonna love that we're talking about him.
Yeah.
He's very organized, and so he's not gonna ask me a couple days before. He's
of course not.
He's gonna be planned out. It's 2 weeks ahead.
Yeah.
So then I'm ADHD. So I'm like, oh well, he has to remind me, like, thank you for letting me know. Yes, I can do it, but you're gonna have to remind me probably a couple days before, just so I remember,
Yeah.
And he knows that about me. So I was with Johnny, and Johnny said, tell him to remind you on, what did you say?
I'm pretty sure that we were months out. I'm pretty sure this was a 2-month thing. Maybe
it was. It might have been a month or something.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
I can't remember.
But it was
either.
a good amount of space in between.
It was a lot of space.
Yeah.
It was. Because me and you were also in. This is so funny. So yes, I said, tell him to remind you exactly on this date at this time, and then again with being
so he
ADHD,
messages me that day that we told him to remind.
Well, we were in the car together.
I was in the car with Johnny.
And we're like, what is this?
I was like, no way, Johnny. I just got the text. Because remember, you told me to tell him, remind me on this day at this time. So he had texted me. It was like 8 minutes early or something.
Yeah.
So I noticed that. And I was like, hey, just so you know, you're a little bit early on that reminder. Like, what's going on here? And he goes, yeah, I know. I was about to get in the car and be somewhere. I would rather be early than be late. And I was like, oh my God, that makes sense. But yeah, no, he's definitely, he's not ADHD.
No, I can tell you right there, because he was able to do that.
He has a very good memory, good brain, and people do have that. That's like it's a superpower. It's a superpower.
But being ADD is too, you just got to learn, listen. And here's one of the things. A lot of people get down on themselves because they can't do things like remember names. They can't remember what they were supposed to do. They can't find their pants.
It can be stressful and frustrating. Yeah.
However, you forget all the benefits that you have. When you go out there, ADHD people are super creative. We are, usually empathetic, not just sympathetic.
Yes.
There's a lot of superpowers, and so therefore, we have to learn how to use different techniques that will allow us to hone in our superpower, right? So one of the things that I love doing, there's a couple of them. Number one is neon orange duct tape. So if you're one of those people, I had the hardest time remembering, for instance, my life got disheveled a little bit. Disheveled with the
disheveled.
Take a shovel
Shoveled.
Shoveled.
Shoveled. Chevelle.
So my life got oopsie
Disheveled.
doopsied a little bit.
Disheveled.
And
Is it, I haven't heard someone say it like
disheveled.
it's disheveled, right?
This is the
I'm
best
not-
episode we've ever done.
Consult your nearest dictionary.
Yeah. Hey Siri, how do you say disheveled?
You just said
Siri
it right.
doesn't. What?
She doesn't listen
That's
to
what
you
I've
either.
been saying.
Disheveled is
Yeah,
what you said.
disheveled.
Shovel. E, not O.
Are we fighting right now? I am saying what you are saying. I'm saying. Like not with a shovel.
With a shovel.
Yeah. No, not with a shovel. This is so, guys. Sorry.
Potato. Okay. Anyway.
No, there is nobody in the world says potato. See, these are the sayings. These are the sayings that get frustrating.
Tomato.
Nobody says tomato either. Not one person has ever gone, "Hey,
Can I have
I'll
no
have some
tomato?"
tomato soup." Yeah, nobody.
I'm gonna
nobody
start
ever.
saying it
Tomato,
now.
just to mess
Can
with
I have
people.
Potato.
Potato water. People won't know what you're talking about.
Can I have some potato water with tonic, please?
with my tomato soup? I'm a little disheveled today. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
orange duct tape, neon orange duct tape. So, again, I have pets. I love my pets. But in the morning when you're so frantic, right? You guys ever feel like this? You get really super frantic in the morning and now you start to forget some of the necessities and the basics. Maybe it's as simple as grabbing a protein bar on your way out the door so you have something to eat so you don't have to eat on the road.
Yeah.
Or you forgot to water the dog because, it's just a thing. My dog, you water it from the top. And it's,
Yeah,
do
no.
you not water your
God
dog?
forbid, because you get in the car.
And then you're thinking halfway down the road, oh
Did
man,
I water
did I water my dog? Why is that funny?
Because
What do you call that?
Did I give my dog water?
All right, well, it's potato, as some would say.
No, yeah, I
But you know what I'm saying,
I will
right?
turn around.
You
but
will
I'm
turn
even-
around.
Oh yeah, I'll
See,
be even more late.
I won't.
And I go
can't
back,
stand being late.
And it's a bowl full of water, and I'm like, oh,
That sucks. Yes, isn't that the worst?
yes,
Do you know how many pairs? This drives me nuts.
yeah.
This is even though the show's about how to not drive yourself nuts. This does drive me nuts. Do you know how many pairs of the exact same type of shoe that I have? Because I keep there's this cloth, and you never even see me wear them. This is the dumbest thing. There's a specific style of shoe that I really like. They're like boat shoes. I really like them. I literally have 3 pairs because I was buying them. Then I forgot that I bought them. And then I would buy another pair that I was like, oh, I really like those. Exact same design. I'd buy it. And then I forgot that I had, then I'd buy it again. Same thing with blue shirts. I have the same style of blue shirt multiple times.
Oh my gosh, actually, it's crazy you say that. I never related that. I feel like I have the same issue
Yeah.
when I go shopping.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the same things all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why.
Yeah.
Because then I go home and I'm like, then I'm looking, what am
It's
I
like,
going
I
to
already
wear
have
today?
this. Yeah.
I'm like,
It's all there.
because every time I go shopping, I'm like, yeah, get something new,
Yeah.
maybe different,
Yeah.
cute, whatever. You know.
You know what? You want to hear something really crazy? I ordered glasses the other day. I went on to go find my old prescription. You only ever see me wear these or my blue ones.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I have? When I bought these, I bought 3 other pairs of glasses.
So you have a bunch.
I have 4 pairs of glasses somewhere, and
love
I
that.
don't remember ever buying them because I like the glasses that have the wood grain on them.
Mm-hmm.
I have a pair. I don't know where they are, but I bought them 3 years ago. I don't know where. I haven't seen them since. And then I remembered I did have this red pair of glasses. I lost them one night, and I remember losing them, and I've never. It's crazy. So here's how you can remember how to do stuff like water your dog. All right, if you're about to leave somewhere, you want to. There's a couple different ways that you can do this. Number one, I'm a big fan of neon tape. Neon orange works for me. Neon pink, you can buy these at any hardware store. Stick it on the door before you leave. So I used to always walk out the front door without my wallet. And it wasn't a habit for me to just always have it in my pocket, right? So now I walk out the front door, I don't have my wallet. Then you got to go back in, you got to figure out where your wallet is. Then you walk out, you don't have your keys.
I have a trick for that.
Tell me your trick.
So before I leave,
Yeah.
the trick is, it's a well-known trick. Literally, when I see the door, it's just in my head. It's keys, phone, wallet, testicles, spectacles.
Wait, hang on.
Sorry, okay.
Wait, hang on.
some keys?
Wait.
So you need your keys,
No, we're not.
your
Hold
phone,
on. Yes.
your wallet,
Yeah.
testicles, spectacles. And testicles just rhyme with spectacles. So you throw it in there. But if you're a boy, it makes sense because then you can check to see if they're still there. And then make sure you have your
What,
eyes
you
on
think
your
we
gun.
just lose them? That's the one thing I guarantee I walk
I
out
just
with every
started
day.
sweating all of a sudden. I might have to lose the North Face.
Hold on.
I can't believe what I just did.
Do you really do that before you leave every morning?
Yes. Okay, yeah. But I
you
usually don't go with testicles here. I don't know why I did it. So yeah,
The
you look
best
at the
part
door.
is we are not taking that out.
You look at the door,
Yeah.
and it's in my head.
Yeah.
So that's how I realize. Okay, and that's how I realize. Like I'm feeling as I'm saying it in my head or saying it out loud. I'm feeling to make sure all things are there. And like for a boy, you know, like
No, I get you said that. I get it.
Yeah.
Yes, as a you,
Well-
I don't know. It's okay. Well, if there's Summer's way of there. So let me tell you an alternate. So number one,
I think I might need an alternate at this point.
Well, but you got so what? So you've done a couple things that actually work really well. Number one, the brain is a funny thing. The more ridiculous you make something, although that's interesting.
You're gonna be leaving the house doing this now.
I will not. I will.
I'm gonna
never...
call you if you're ever on the phone with me. I'm gonna be like, "Do you have your keys, wallet, testicles, and spectacles?" And you're not gonna get it out of your head.
It will definitely not be out of my head, but it will. But you know, I'll be like, no, I gotta find my. My biggest problem is my pants. I
find my
have
pants still.
no joke walked out my front door without pants on before because I was in that big of a rush, and I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And I've run back in. The
Yeah.
crazy part is my neighbor's house, their kitchen faces my front door. And they don't put a curtain up on it. So I'm always like super
That's
nervous about that.
That would be bad. No, and you know what's funny is I do that with shoes a lot. I have literally left for somewhere
Without shoes?
with like very like slippers even.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
accidentally left the house with slippers on or just like slides. I'm walking around with slides and I'm going somewhere nice. My whole outfit's nice. Everything's nice. And I have these freaking fluffy slippers on and I have to turn around or I got to stop at the store. Like it's bad.
That's something.
Well, it's different though because you
you
probably
need to
feel
come
a
up with
brisk
shoes.
breeze when you enter the house, exit the house with no pants.
That's when I realized I did remember
And
my
like
testicles.
I always remember I just know there's shoes on my feet. I just don't think to think about what shoes they are.
Yeah.
I wonder if anybody else has ever done that. It can't just be me.
No, there's 100%, I guarantee you, that especially when you're talking about real estate agents, at some point in time, you've walked out without a clothing item
Oh yeah.
and just completely forgot that you didn't have it. I know for a fact that that's happened.
Yeah.
So, neon tape. This is 23 minutes to get to this neon tape. You put neon tape wherever your eyeballs are going to be looking. Okay? So, if you walk out your front door and the first thing that you're seeing when you're walking out your front door is you're grabbing the handle and checking yourself, apparently, because I don't know who you hang out with that they always got to be afraid. I just know that's not my. I never had that issue where I was like, not a boy today. You put that tape wherever your eyeballs are going to be looking, and then you write on that tape what it is. Do you have your keys? Do you have yourself? Apparently,
Yeah.
Do you have your eyeglasses? You know. If you can't read the sign, that's your tell that you don't have your
That's the tell.
eyeglasses.
Can you read me is what the sign says.
Yeah. But what happens after a point of time is, the thing that's interesting about people that have ADHD is, did somebody die? What just
I just can't believe I went testicles.
happened?
We're gonna have to cut that one.
We're not cutting it out. I heard that's staying.
This is
That
gonna be
is the
crazy.
best. All right, over here. Fun fact too is as a female with ADHD, it makes it harder because your thoughts are never fully on whatever moment's happening because it's all tangled in all these other thoughts that are happening. So you're still back at this part, and we're still trying to get the tape.
We're still trying to
Yeah,
podcast here.
yeah. So. What happens is that ADHD, one of the superpowers that we do have, and this is with anybody, but There are things that you do every single day that you don't even have to think about anymore because your body has turned it into a habit. And what's really funny, so for instance, I used to always keep my keys in a bowl by the front door so I never lost them. Once that became a habit, I never lost my keys again. Once that bowl was taken away,
Keys are gone.
I have nowhere to put my keys.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden I have to come up with a whole new routine.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily now there's ways that you can trick yourself. So right now what I have to do, so now the car that I'm driving now automatically locks when I leave it. I don't ever have to put the key in the ignition. All I ever have to have is the key in my pocket. It never has to come out of my pocket. So since that's been happening, I haven't never lost my keys.
Yep.
Why? Not because they're hanging up anywhere, because all I have to do is find the last pair of pants that I wore.
Yeah.
And there's the keys because they're always in the pocket.
I do the same thing. My keys stay attached to my purse. I always have
There it is.
Like a carabiner, and I have to attach it. Otherwise, the keys will be missing, even if I just throw them in my purse.
So let's talk about your little saying here, and we'll end on this because there's a really cool brain hack, and this is something that you don't even know that you're doing with your little saying, right? Mm-hmm. One of the ways that you can mass remember something, there was a study that was done that showed that if you want to remember something, your brain rejects stuff that it knows isn't true, but then it remembers the true thing even more. Here's what I mean by that. If you were to meet somebody in a specific location and you altered that location to be something, the crazier the better, right? Like, hey, when we first met at, did we first meet at Randy's office?
Yeah, we met at Randy Gamo's office.
Okay, so we first met at Randy's office. So so instead of being at Randy's office inside the coffee house and there was Sandra, all of a sudden I'm imagining it being, so what could I imagine Randy's office being like? Would be like a mighty castle, and then you came in on or
like a rainforest cafe with animals and jungle.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. And Fabian coming out, and he looks like Tarzan for some reason.
Oh my God,
in my head. But yeah, fun, crazy, weird. The weirder and crazier you make it, the more the brain will remember the true actual fact.
Yeah.
It's a really weird hack for the brain, right? So one of the things that, like what you said, as crazy as those sayings are, especially when you have ADHD, that stuff sticks with you, right? All good boys eat fudge. Does anybody know what that is? That's a piano scale, right? All good boys, every good boy deserves fudge. I said it wrong.
Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Penma's math.
Yes, I didn't take
math.
that class. Penma's.
Penma's. Please parentheses exponent.
Great. And then there's
I do multiplication, division.
Yeah.
But I got to go back to please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Addition, subtraction.
I'd always taught my kids never eat sour weenies. That's how I had to learn north, south, east, and west.
Yeah.
To this day. But do you see how it's an insane thing?
Yeah.
But the more insane it is, the easier it is for your brain to lock it in. Mm-hmm. So going back to, I'm going to try to wrap this up in a bow here. Number one, there are, and we're going to have a part 2 one day. I'm going to see if I can get David. I'm going to reach out. Actually, David, this is I need you. I'm going to reach out and see if I can get him on. He was my cognitive functions coach. He was an absolute integral piece of my life for the time that I had him. I think I had him for like 2 years on getting me to understand accepting who I am instead of fighting against it, because I always fought against it. And number 2, learning how to put things in place. And since then, I've learned a whole bunch of tips and tricks. And one day we'll have an entire thing of tips and tricks. And hopefully by then I'll have learned to remember. Maybe it's just doing what you do and telling Google to remind me at night, every single night, to put my clothes out for the next day.
Set a reminder that's on repeat. I also have reminders that are on repeat as well. So a certain day of each month. And I use it, for some bills too. Like, so I know like this bill's coming in on the 28th or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's my main, until I see it repetitively enough that I can take that reminder off, because I've now memorized it. It's become a habit, as you were saying.
It's all what it's all about.
And it's what I do. So it's like, your nighttime routine, you brush your teeth, you wash your face, whatever it is you do. But you do that every single night because it's something that you need to do. And yeah, you do it every night. So it's a habit. So if you think about every night, I do think about what I'm going to wear.
Do you? Yeah.
Well, because I panic as well.
Yeah.
Right before. So funny story. It took me it takes me a majority of the time to like wash my face, brush my teeth, like put on makeup.
It does.
Get my hair. I got dressed within 5 minutes and I was out the door. Like the outfit part, because it's like I already had an idea of what I was going to wear.
Yeah, yeah.
I already envisioned bell bottoms with heels.
Okay.
I did. And just a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I already envisioned it. I was like, that'll do for the podcast. And I
See,
threw it on right before I left.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I know what's in my closet.
Right.
Or I might go in the closet the night before and look, because I like to wear something different on the podcast sometimes.
All
or
right.
fun.
Yeah, yeah. So here's one more. What's funny is you've kind of done what I've done. When I walked into your other house, you had done something that I have just learned to do. One more tip, because this was super helpful. My closet is no longer my closet. It can't be. One of the biggest issues with people that have ADD, ADHD, whatever, is if something is closed or covered, then it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
We can't see it. So I have built interior closet shelving and stuff, like one of those fancy things that you put in the closet to organize.
Yep.
It is built against my wall. So I can see my clothes sitting there. Now, do all my clothes that I want to wear, do they ever end up there? No, they don't.
Yeah.
But enough of it does where I can just grab it and go because I know that it's there.
I don't use a dresser for that reason.
There you go.
All my clothes are hung. All of
Yeah,
them.
and you can see them, right?
Yeah, I can see them.
Yeah, it's same thing in the kitchen. Like when you had that. I don't know what it looks like now, but you used to have everything was just out in the open.
Yeah.
See, it was crazy. My mom always used to think it was crazy because I'd always leave cabinet doors open.
Yeah.
But now I do it on purpose, because if I don't remember.
Well, it's funny because when you came, we were actually trying to get the cabinets painted, and so all the doors were off.
Oh, is that why?
It is.
Oh,
that
that's
is why.
funny.
But after you had said that, I was like, honestly, that's so true.
Yeah.
Everything that I've been seeing lately, it's like I know everything I have. I'm eating things. Even you open the cabinet, or you're like, I don't have any food or something.
Yeah, and then you forget there's that can of corn
there is
back
a whole
there.
thing of food. Yeah. So I thought about it after you mentioned that, and I'm like, he's so right. When you can see it, it's like you don't forget that it's there.
If I can see it.
And it's such a small thing, but like that's just how our brains work for some reason. Sometimes you'll forget those things. You forgot you bought the yummy peanut butter.
Oh my gosh, I did forget
ago.
about that. I have almond peanut butter. You know how many jars of peanut butter I have in my house?
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. I would stick some in this cabinet up here, and then I found another jar of it down here, and I forgot that I bought this almond cinnamon butter.
Yeah. Me and my roommate, we kept buying mayo.
Oh, you guys got a house
We
of
had
mayo?
so much mayo, but yeah, it's just because we couldn't remember if we had it or not, and we just ended up with like 5 of them. It was crazy. Now it's a running joke.
I love it.
Thank you guys for listening today.
Yeah, it's time for summer. We gotta run. Next show, super exciting. I've been waiting for this for a long time. So make sure you check us next week for that. Summertime is
It's time to hit the lights, lock the door, and hold the sign. We're ending Open House the podcast for the week.
Making sure I still have my testicles.
The guest is you.
Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe, guys.
For you to view.
Our camera went down.
Open House
There it
the
is.
podcast. Open House the podcast. Ooh. Ooh. The door is open, so come on in. Sound check done.